Good morning, outdoor artist, and welcome to wintry upstate New York. It's about 20 degrees today or so Fahrenheit. I guess that's around -6 or 7 centigrade. And today's project is to design and build an infeed table and an outfeed table for the wood splitter. Let's start over here with the wood pile. These are to be split. These are logs, and you can see the I guess I should call them rounds. It used to be a log, now they're rounds. They're about 15 or 16 inches in diameter and 16 or 18 inches in height. And the operation today is to design two tables. One I'm going to call an infeed table, and that is to accept logs that'll be stacked up this way next to the wood splitter at the same elevation as this handling tray, such that when they get to the end I can just roll them over into the handling tray and onto the wood splitter itself. So you can see that'll require about, I'm going to estimate it's going to be about 24 inches wide this way and probably 60 or so, maybe 5 feet this way long in order to hold that. And it's going to have to be pretty sturdy because these logs, or these rounds, weigh about well over 100 pounds a piece, some of them even more than that, and so this thing's got to be able to withstand the punishment. Now on the outfeed side, what I'm going to be doing is building a big table basically that'll lay on top of these two logs that I have here. You can see, you can start to see the how it's going to look. They'll lay on the two logs, and then I'll just bring in the grapple and lift the whole table up when it gets full of logs. So it'll be like a tray with sides that I can toss the split wood into until I get done with those that I've stacked up on the infeed table, and then simply lift it up and cart it down to the area where I'm stacking it down below on the quarry road. So since form follows function, there's two functions. One function is to hold the logs securely at an elevation until I can get them in the wood splitter, and the other function is to hold the logs securely until I can get at it with the grapple and lift them up and take them down. And we'll get started. I'm going to try to use, in terms of a constraint, I'm going to try to use only material that I have on site. You can see I've got a big pile up here left from the shed construction under the tarp. I pulled a bunch of that down yesterday for working material, and I'll continue today with a few pieces for sides, and hopefully there'll be literally zero expense with these two infeed and outfeed tables, but we'll see how that goes. That's the goal. Well, it's time for lunch, and I've finished up the outfeed table. I'll show you that right now in its position. This is probably about the position I'll have it in when I'm using it. I might have it a little bit closer to the splitter, but I've got that option. And basically a giant skid is what it amounts to. I've made some tabs on each side out of doubled up 2x4s to put it on those two logs, and such that the brush grapple jaw, the lower one, can come right in on underneath it and pick it up and get it out of there. I don't have a pallet fork on this tractor, but this brush grapple in this particular setup will work great. I couldn't have this bumper, if you will, any taller because of the structure of the brush grapple. It was running into some interference, so I left it a little bit lower, but I believe that's going to work okay as I toss logs, just to keep the first course from popping out, and then the second courses will be piled up on that. So I'm hoping that that'll work out okay. Push comes to shove, I could always add an extension, I suppose, on the inside to help that out. But that's the outfeed table completed, and next up after lunch I'll start on the infeed table. Good morning, Outdoor Artist, and I'm back on the build for the Infeed table today. I didn't quite finish it yesterday as I had hoped, but I made good progress. Before I start though, I just want to take a second to have a look around, because this is a spectacular winter morning here in upstate New York. The sun's out. It's going to be about mid-40s today, degrees Fahrenheit, and a very, very pleasant day to be working outside. You can hear the birds and the sounds of nature, and I always like to just take a minute to appreciate that situation before we dive in. But relative to the build, let's see what we've got here. I got the platform basically built. There's a couple things to do here this morning. One is to secure this post and the one on the far side. That one on the far side is a little tricky, and I'll tell you why. It's because I've got the starting mechanism for the wood splitter right here, so it's got to be out of the way enough to do that. And so I think the best solution is to put it a little bit forward so I can still get at the handle, but also provide good protection for the logs as they come down. They don't roll off onto the motor. So I think I'll be putting it in a position something like that. Now the one on the front, I think I'll put kind of like midships, just to distribute the stress evenly, because there's going to be a lot of pressure on this thing. So I'm not sure exactly where the midpoint is, but it'll probably be something like that. Then I've got these planks cut. This is the same red oak that's on the shed. These are about 11 inches wide or so. Two of those will fit nicely right on top of this platform. And then I'm going to have to provide some kind of bracing, diagonal bracing here and there, because the last thing I want is to get this thing full of weight and have the whole thing collapse left or right or back or front or something. So it's got to be braced pretty well, since there'll be probably close to 1,000 pounds put on this little structure, believe it or not. So I'll be working on that this morning, and I'll bring you back as I near completion. And then I'm hopeful that sometime today I'll be able to do a demonstration of the whole operation, loading it up, cutting some logs, making some firewood, and putting it in the bin. So I'll talk to you soon. Well, it's about an hour later, and I've gotten to the point that I'm ready for a proof test here. You can see the general design and construction. I've got these guardrails on the sides to prevent the wood from sliding off, except for there in the throat where it goes down to the wood splitter. I did not actually attach these oak boards to the bottom, and they're just in there floating, but they're guarded at each end and on the sides from going out. I probably could have nailed those down, but I just decided to leave those kind of floating free. So it's time for a proof test. The proof is in the pudding. It all looks good on paper, but let's have a little look. Well, the whole operation went very well. The equipment worked as designed and as engineered, so I'm pleased with that. Those 3 large blocks that I'd split up there, those 3 logs, were good size, and probably filled about, I would say, maybe half of this box. I could easily get another 3 logs on this thing. I'm just not sure the tractor would enjoy lifting it up, but the design of the box is such that it could do it. I'll go ahead and stack these. These will have to stay about 2 years to cure properly, and it's red oak. It's not particularly sunny in this location, although it is right now. There's a lot of air movement through here though, so after 2 years these should be ready for the fireplace or other applications that I might want to use them. I should mention, by the way, as an aside, that I forgot to wear my safety glasses during that operation of the wood splitter, and typically I would, and you really should wear your safety glasses in that sort of a situation, because stuff tends to pop up once in a while. So my recommendation is to always have those. I do have my safety shoes on, steel-toed shoes, so that was taken care of, but safety glasses would have been a really good idea. This is the Outdoor Artist, and I'm signing off.